My name is Rachel Carter. I'm 29 years old, and the sentence that blew up my family didn't start in a courtroom or some dramatic screaming match in a driveway. It started on Instagram, right in the middle of my lunch break. I was at my desk, half focused on a sad little salad and a spreadsheet, when my phone buzzed. I glanced down, expecting an email or a calendar reminder. Instead, I saw his face. My ex-boyfriend's profile picture, that familiar smirk, his name in bold letters at the top of a notification. Jason just posted a new photo. I should have ignored it. We'd broken up 6 weeks ago. I'd promised myself I was done checking his socials, done torturing myself. But my thumb moved before my brain could stop it. The post opened and my stomach dropped. Big, smiling rooftop photo. City skyline behind them. String lights overhead, like something out of a lifestyle blog. Jason's arm was around a woman's waist, her head leaning on his shoulder. The caption read, "Finally free from that toxic relationship. So grateful for people who actually appreciate me." There were heart emojis. There always were. I squinted at the little gray tag on the photo, like maybe I'd read it wrong. I hadn't. He'd tagged my cousin, Lily, my actual blood cousin, the one who used to braid my hair at family sleepovers when we were kids, the cousin who'd cried on my bed about boys in high school, who'd texted me the night she got into her dream college, who knew every detail of my relationship with Jason because I'd trusted her. Now she was in a rooftop photo, tucked under his arm, looking like she'd just won the boyfriend lottery. I stared at my phone so long my salad wilted. We hadn't had some explosive breakup. There was no cheating confession, no throwing clothes out of windows. Jason had sat on my couch 6 weeks ago, hands folded, eyes soft, and told me he needed space to work on himself, that I was emotionally distant, that I made him feel small. I'd cried, I'd apologized. I'd gone to therapy, wondering if I really was this cold, unloving person he described. Meanwhile, apparently, he was working on himself directly into my cousin's arms. At first, I couldn't move. It was like all the sound in the office just muted. People were talking, phones were ringing, but it hit my ears like I was underwater. Then my brain started connecting dots I'd been too naive to line up before. All those girls' nights Lily had started having a few months back that went until 2 in the morning. The way Jason had started taking his phone to the bathroom and flipping it face down on the table. How Lily had suddenly gotten super close to my aunt again, showing up for family dinners I, for some reason, was never invited to. Jason's questions weeks before we broke up. "Do you think your family likes me?" "Lily's so easy to talk to, you know. She gets me. Not everyone does." I thought he was trying to connect with my family. Apparently, he was connecting with one specific member. The comments under the post were already rolling in. Her friends, "Yes, queen, so happy for you." His coworkers, "Love this for you, bro." Random acquaintances, "You deserve someone who sees your worth." I could almost feel the narrative writing itself in real time. Poor Jason, freed from his toxic, cold ex-girlfriend, supported and adored by my own cousin. Part of me wanted to type out everything right there in the comments, to write paragraph after paragraph about hotel rooms and lies and timelines. Instead, I took a breath. My therapist had been drilling something into my head for weeks. Pause. Don't react from the wound. I stared at the caption again, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Then, slowly, I typed a single sentence. "Congratulations to both of you." My hands were shaking, but I hit post. Lily's reply came less than a minute later. "Thanks, Rach. So glad everyone can be honest now." Honest? I almost laughed in the middle of my open plan office. Here's the thing, though. When Jason and I first started dating, he'd had this massive freakout when his old phone died. He lost years of photos, vacations, family events, everything. He swore it was like losing little pieces of his life. So, I'd helped him set up this shared backup system, a cloud account we both could access, where our photos auto-synced in case our phones exploded or fell into a lake. He was so grateful. "You think of everything, Rach." After we broke up, I never thought about that account again. Until that moment, sitting at my desk, staring at him and my cousin wrapped in string lights and hypocrisy. The memory hit me like a jolt. I opened a new tab on my work computer, fingers on autopilot as I typed in the cloud login. I'd set up the password. He'd never bothered to change it. The screen loaded. At the top, recent uploads. I clicked. There they were. Selfies of Jason and Lily at that same rooftop bar. Not just tonight's picture. Their outfits were different. These were from weeks ago. Months. Jason kissing her cheek, her laughing into his shoulder. New Year's Eve. A hotel room mirror. Lily in a dress I'd helped her pick out for a work party. My heart pounded so loud I could feel it in my teeth. I scrolled further. It wasn't just Lily. There was a woman I recognized from his stories about grad school, his MBA study partner, Mia. Hotel photos with her, too. His hand low on her back, her lipstick smudged, their faces too close for just friends cramming for an exam. Another folder of gym selfies with a female trainer he'd told me was just motivating him to stay healthy. Her name was Vanessa. In one photo, Jason's hand was on her hip in a way no one's hand goes if they're just spotting you on a squat. And then there was Sophie, his college ex, the one he'd insisted was ancient history and more like a sister now. There were bed selfies, hotel snapshots, and one picture of him kissing her neck while she took the shot in the mirror. My vision blurred for a second. I wasn't special. I wasn't the one toxic flaw in an otherwise perfect love story. I was just one stop on Jason's rotation. The nausea hit first. Then something else crept in under it, something cold and steady. I started downloading every photo, every screenshot, every text where he'd written things like, "She has no idea, LOL. She's working late, so you're all mine tonight. She thinks I'm at my aunt's, but I'm with you." I created folders. Jason plus Lily, timeline. Jason plus Mia, hotels. Jason's Vanessa, gym. Jason's Sophie, ex. By the time my lunch break was over, my sandwich untouched, the chaos in my chest had sharpened into something terrifyingly clear. Jason had spent 2.5 years telling me I was too cold, too distant, too hard to love. Meanwhile, he'd been handing proofs of his own lack of loyalty directly to the cloud account I'd created for him. I could have posted everything right then in one furious burst, dumped every receipt into the comments of his rooftop love story, and watched the world catch fire. Instead, I waited. I let the afternoon pass in a blur of fake work and real rage. Let the congratulations pile up under his post. Let people build their little fairy tale in the comments. That night, sitting alone in my apartment with my laptop open and the city humming outside my window, I made my move. I created a simple collage. One square. Jason and Lily at a hotel months before we broke up. Another. Jason and Mia tangled together in a hotel room. Another. Jason and Vanessa kissing in a gym bathroom mirror. Another. Jason and Sophie in bed, his arm around her, the date stamp loud and clear. Underneath, I added cropped screenshots of his texts. "She has no idea, LOL. She's so easy to manipulate. She thinks she's the problem." Then I wrote my caption. "Since we're celebrating freedom and honesty today, here's the real story of our toxic relationship. Turns out I wasn't emotionally distant. I was just unaware I was dating half the city, including my own cousin. I tagged Jason. I tagged Lily. I tagged Mia, Vanessa, and Sophie." My finger hovered over the post button. For a second, I saw it all. My aunt's face, my mom's disappointment, Lily's inevitable meltdown. Holidays rearranging, family chats blowing up, the quiet shattering of the illusion that our family was tight. This wasn't just about a breakup anymore. It was about turning on the lights in a room everyone wanted to pretend was already clean. I hit post. Then I turned my phone off, grabbed my keys, and drove. No destination. Just streetlights, empty roads, and the sound of my own breathing, steady and sharp. Somewhere between my apartment and the highway, I knew one thing for sure. By the time I turned my phone back on, nothing in my life, my family, my reputation, or Jason's carefully curated victim story was ever going to look the same. The next morning, the weight of everything I had done settled into my chest like a brick. The cold numbness that had kept me calm the night before had dissipated, leaving only a buzzing, unrelenting sense of what was to come. I sat at my desk, the office now buzzing with noise, the same noise I had heard 1,000,000 times before. But today, I couldn't focus on spreadsheets or the endless emails pinging into my inbox. Instead, I pulled my phone out from my purse, watching the notifications flood in, each one like a reminder that nothing was going to be the same ever again. Hundreds of missed calls, text messages streaming in, Instagram notifications popping up faster than I could scroll. The first message came from Jason. "What the hell did you do?" His tone wasn't angry yet. It was more like he was still trying to hold on to some illusion that he could control the situation. That maybe I'd change my mind, take down the post, and let him keep his narrative intact. I couldn't help the small, bitter laugh that escaped me. I opened the next text. "Take that down right now," Jason wrote. "This is private. You can't just post people's private stuff." "Private?" The hypocrisy stung like acid in my throat. He had made an entire public spectacle of my life, of my heartbreak, and now, when the truth was out, it was private. I scrolled further. There was a message from Lily, my cousin, the one who had turned into a stranger, a woman I didn't recognize anymore. Rach, why would you do this? I thought we were family. You're embarrassing me. I could almost feel her shame seeping through her words. She had no right to feel embarrassed. Not when I had been the one who'd been betrayed, who'd been made the fool. But that was the thing with family, wasn't it? They always found a way to spin it. Next, my phone buzzed with the name Mom flashing across the screen. I stared at it for a long moment, unsure if I was ready to hear what she would say. I didn't pick up. Instead, I clicked on the family group chat and my heart sank. The floodgates were open, and they were all taking sides. Aunt, what's happening here? Someone explain now. Mom, what the actual hell is going on? Uncle, is this real? Tell me this is some sick joke. I didn't hesitate. I screenshot Jason's Instagram post, the one where he had tagged Lily. I posted it in the group chat. Then I attached the proof. Photos, hotel dates, the messages, the lies. I didn't need to say anything. The truth spoke for itself. Jason's betrayal had been a game to him, a way to spin the narrative and paint me as cold and emotionally unavailable. But the reality was staring them all in the face now. The replies were swift. Aunt Lily, is this true? There was a long pause. I could almost hear her defensive tone in my head. Lily, I don't know what to say. I was trying to be there for Jason. Mom, so this is what's been happening behind all our backs? I knew what was coming next. It wasn't a shock. It wasn't even a surprise. But it still made my stomach turn when Jason texted me. I don't know how you can be this petty. This is some next-level revenge, and it's embarrassing. You're destroying everything. I couldn't even laugh at the irony. Instead, I simply responded with one line. This isn't revenge. This is the truth. Then, as expected, Jason filed a harassment complaint with HR. I had expected this. He would try to control the narrative any way he could, using whatever leverage he had left. But the truth was on my side. I walked into my boss's office that morning with everything. The screenshots, the cloud account, the timeline. I laid it all out calmly. Jason hadn't used company equipment. He hadn't done anything at work. This was about him and me and the messy, deceitful truth about our relationship. The HR manager listened, clearly uncomfortable, but there was nothing to act on. Just keep personal stuff offline from now on, he said, his voice tight. I nodded and left the office, but it felt like one more little victory. The truth was on my side, and the longer Jason tried to silence it, the louder it would get. That night, as the family dinner loomed, I knew it wasn't going to be the usual Sunday gathering. This time, it was going to be different. The room was already dividing itself before anyone even walked through the door. Aunt, Lily and Jason need some space. They've been through a lot. Mom, she's your cousin, but she's still a person who made a choice. Don't act like there's no consequence. Uncle, we need to talk, now. I walked in as calm as I could, my heart hammering in my chest. I knew this dinner was going to be the battleground, the final confrontation. It wasn't just about Jason or Lily anymore. It was about the family and how they had all protected a lie for so long. Jason and I broke up 6 weeks ago, I said, keeping my voice level. So explain to me how he has hotel photos with my cousin from 3 months ago. The silence was suffocating. No one knew what to say. The rest of the evening unfolded like a broken record. Lily trying to defend herself, Jason lying through his teeth about how we were broken up before they ever got together. The more they tried to spin their story, the more I let the truth speak for itself. I'm not angry at you, Jason, I said finally, looking directly at him. I'm just disappointed in you, and in everyone who stood by and let this happen. Part of me wanted to yell, to shout, to burn it all down, but instead I sat back and watched the house of cards fall apart. Lily's face was pale, her eyes darting between me and Jason, trying to read the room. The dinner was over before I even realized it. We all left, and I knew nothing would be the same again. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen texts from my cousin. She apologized in the way only someone who still didn't get it could. I never meant to hurt you, Rach, but I had to follow my heart. Her words echoed in my head for a long while as I prepared for the next chapter. But no matter how much she apologized, it didn't change the fact that the truth had come out. And the world I had known, my family, my relationships, would never be the same. The fallout didn't stop with the Instagram post or the dinner confrontation. It spread like wildfire, catching everyone in its path, with my family and Jason's ex-relationships as the collateral damage. For weeks, the family group chat was filled with messages. My aunt was the loudest, still trying to defend Lily and Jason, while my mom was quietly furious in the background, sending me one-word messages of support. Aunt, we need to move past this. It's just a mistake, a love story gone wrong. Mom, she's your cousin, Rachel, but you're my daughter, and I'm proud of how you've handled this. But nothing could undo the damage. Nothing could change what had happened. I spent my days balancing my work life and answering texts from relatives who were suddenly all too concerned with the drama they had ignored for months. And then it came, Jason's next move. He posted another Instagram story, this time about toxic exes and abusive relationships. The words were carefully chosen to cast me in the light of a villain who had weaponized our past against him. He tagged me in the story, as though daring me to react. I read his message over and over again, letting the anger bubble up. He was trying to paint himself as the victim, as the one who'd been wronged, trying to turn the tables now that the truth was out. But I wasn't going to play into his narrative. I had already shown everyone who he really was. I thought about ignoring it, but then something shifted in me. Maybe it was the frustration of seeing my life turned into a circus, or maybe I just wanted to show him what the truth looked like from my side. So I did what I had to do. I screenshot the message, showing his words about how I was the abusive ex, and posted it to my own Instagram with the simple caption, "Guess who's projecting?" That was when the real madness began. People from every corner of my life reached out. Old friends, co-workers, even random acquaintances I hadn't spoken to in years. Everyone had something to say about it. Many were apologizing, shocked at how Jason had spun things. But it wasn't just strangers who were reacting. My family, once again, became the battleground. My mom called me on the phone that afternoon. I could hear the worry in her voice, but there was something else there too. Something I couldn't quite place. "Rachel, I think you need to take a step back. This is all getting out of hand," she said, her voice strained. "I'm not backing down, Mom. I'm not letting him control this narrative anymore," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady, though I could feel my emotions rising. "Please, just be careful. Your aunt is still defending Lily. She won't listen to reason. And I don't want you getting caught in this mess any more than you already are." The words hit harder than I expected. It was like the whole world had shifted, and no one could see the truth clearly, not even my mom. Later that night, I received another text, this time from Sophie, the college ex Jason had been seeing while still with me. Her message was simple, almost too casual for what was at stake. "Hey, this is Sophie. Just wanted to let you know Jason is still lying to everyone. I know you've been through a lot, but just thought you should know he's still telling people you cheated on him. I'm so sorry about everything." I stared at the message, trying to make sense of it. I knew Sophie had been part of the chaos, but this was the first time she had reached out to me. I'd always felt like she was an afterthought in Jason's life, a person he'd left behind while he focused on his perfect future with me. But now she was apologizing. She felt guilty. The truth, it seemed, was slowly starting to crack through the lies. I responded with one line, "I already know. Thanks for telling me." The next few days were a blur of messages, apologies, and more drama. My ex tried to control the narrative with fake stories about how I had mistreated him during our relationship, how I had been the emotionally unavailable one. I laughed every time I heard it, but the pain was still there, festering underneath the surface. It wasn't just the betrayal of my cousin, it was the way he had manipulated everyone into believing I was the problem. Then, Thanksgiving came, the first family holiday without Jason. It was going to be strange. I had no idea how things would play out, but I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let him ruin it. I showed up to my parents' house, heart heavy but determined. I expected an uncomfortable silence, the kind of tension that comes when everyone is avoiding the elephant in the room. But to my surprise, it wasn't as bad as I thought. My uncle arrived first, looking exhausted, his face lined with worry. He pulled me aside as I made my way into the kitchen. "Your aunt and we're separating," he said, his voice low, almost apologetic. "She's been defending Jason for so long. I can't do it anymore. This whole thing has been eating at us." The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I had always known my aunt had a soft spot for Jason, but I never imagined it would go this far. And now their marriage was on the line because she was unwilling to admit the truth about her daughter's betrayal. I didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry, Uncle. I never wanted this to affect you." He gave a tired smile. "You didn't do this, Rachel. This was years of protecting him, of sweeping things under the rug. But your aunt has made her choice. I can't keep pretending." The conversation hung in the air as we joined the rest of the family at the table. It was awkward, yes, but there was a sense of finality, a shift that seemed to take place with my uncle's words. The tension between my family and Jason's was palpable, but it felt different now. There was no going back. That night, as I sat quietly with my family, watching the awkwardness swirl around me, I realized something. This wasn't just about the relationships. It wasn't even just about Jason or Lily or my broken family. It was about truth. And the truth had a way of breaking things wide open. It didn't care who got hurt or how much chaos it caused. It just was. And in the end, the truth always found its way to the surface. The next morning, I got a message from Sophie again. She had messaged me once more, but this time the tone was different. Jason's blaming you for everything, but I just want you to know that the rest of us can see the full picture now. I'm sorry it took so long. And as I sat there reading her words, I knew that it wasn't over yet. But it was getting closer. Months passed, but the remnants of that explosion, of all the truth that had come out, of all the lies and betrayal that had been revealed, lingered. The family dynamics had shifted in ways I never thought possible, and yet, here I was, navigating the wreckage like a ghost in my own life. Family dinners, once bustling with the usual chatter and laughter, had become small affairs. Thanksgiving, the first one without my cousin, without Jason, was subdued. My aunt, still reeling from the consequences of her daughter's actions, barely spoke. She had chosen to side with Lily, and it had torn apart her relationship with her husband, my uncle. They were still living under the same roof, but the love that once held them together had dissolved into a quiet resentment, an unspoken distance that couldn't be mended. I had distanced myself, too, from everything and everyone. The family events became sparse. I didn't mind. I had spent so many months caught up in their drama, in their lies, that I had forgotten what it felt like to just breathe without feeling the weight of their judgments. And then there was Jason. It wasn't so much that I missed him. It was the life we had built, the illusion that everything was fine, that we were on some sort of path toward the future. But none of it had been real. None of it had ever been real. And as time passed, I began to heal. Slowly, piece by piece. It wasn't the dramatic closure I had expected. There were no final confrontations, no I told you so moments. Instead, the truth had done its job. It had set me free, but it had also shattered everything else, my relationships with my family, my sense of trust, and my own identity. I spent a lot of time alone during those months, reflecting, healing. It was painful, yes, but in that pain, I started to rebuild. I went back to therapy, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I needed to understand what had happened, why I had let myself fall into that pattern with Jason, with Lily, why I had ignored the warning signs. I met someone new along the way. Her name was Grace, and we met through work. She was patient with me, understanding of my trust issues, my need to take things slow. We'd gone out a few times, and each time I saw a little more of who I wanted to be, rather than who I was trying to convince myself to be in that toxic relationship with Jason. At first, it felt strange, dating someone new so soon after everything had fallen apart. But with Grace, it didn't feel like a replacement. It felt like an opportunity to start fresh, to explore what real connection and trust felt like. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. As the weeks went on, I kept seeing Jason's posts, his new life with his freedom narrative, his endless Instagram stories about how he was embracing change. He was trying to recreate the image of someone who had it all together. But there was no substance to it, just another performance for his followers, another mask he had to wear. And I saw it. I saw how he couldn't escape the consequences of his actions. One evening, as I scrolled through my feed, I saw a new post from him. A photo of him and Lily sitting together at a coffee shop, looking more comfortable than they ever had around me. The caption read, "Moving on and embracing the journey." It didn't sting, not anymore. Instead, I found myself feeling detached from him, detached from everything that had happened. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had truly let go. I smiled. It was a bittersweet smile, but it was also liberating. Because the truth was out there, and it no longer had power over me. What came next didn't matter. What mattered was that I was free. A few months later, I got an unexpected message from Sophie again. She had finally reached out to me directly, not in some long, apologetic text, but just a simple message. Hey, Rachel, I just wanted you to know. I never knew the full story. I've had time to think about everything, and I see it now. I'm sorry. Her apology wasn't some grand gesture. It didn't fix everything, nor did it excuse her part in all of this. But I appreciated it because it felt like real growth on her part. She had seen the truth, and she had owned up to it. I appreciate that, Sophie. I really do, I typed back, my fingers slow as I thought about the weight of those words. But for me, it wasn't about closing some chapter with her. It was about moving forward. Not for her, not for Jason, but for me. And then came the final part of the fallout. A year after the initial explosion, my cousin Lily reached out to me for the first time in months. The message was short. I'm sorry, Rach, I messed up. I sat staring at it for a long time. I had no idea how to respond. Part of me wanted to reach out and let her know everything would be okay. But another part of me, the part that had healed, knew that forgiveness wasn't something I needed to offer her to feel whole again. I'm glad you're taking responsibility, Lily, but I need to focus on my own life now. I've got nothing but peace to offer. That was the last time we spoke. The aftermath of everything, the public humiliation, the family split, the emotional wreckage, had left me exhausted. But I realized that in all that destruction, I had found peace. I had found my way back to myself. My mom had a talk with me one night after everything had settled down. She asked if I regretted posting everything, the truth that had broken the family apart, the truth that had destroyed Jason and Lily's perfect image of themselves. I thought about it for a moment before answering. No, Mom, I don't regret it, because if I stayed silent, if I kept pretending like everything was fine, I would have let them control the narrative forever. I would have let them destroy me again. My mom nodded, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a deep sense of peace settle over me. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. The holidays rolled around again, and for the first time in a year, I felt truly at ease. My family was smaller, but the love was real. My mom, my dad, my uncle, all of us together, without the drama, without the lies. I was free. Grace and I spent Christmas together. It wasn't extravagant or grand. It was quiet, simple, and filled with the kind of moments I had missed for so long. Genuine connection, real laughter, and no pretense. And as I sat there, wrapped in the warmth of this new life, I realized that sometimes the hardest things, the things that tear us apart, are the very things that make room for something better. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I was finally starting to live again.